Okay, so part two of our career path training, since part one I didn't realize it was only going to let me do 15 minutes, allow me to do 15 minutes. So we're almost done. I promise this part won't be too long, but we are talking about the director bonus, which I know for many of you is something that you're very interested in and you're very curious about. So with that director bonus, um, like I mentioned, it's a $1,000 bonus, and it basically means that you want to hit your director stats for at least 4 months. So you're going to be in your DIQ your first month, and then for 3 consecutive months after that, you want to get paid out as a director, which means that you've got your $1,000 minimum in personal volume, your $4,000 minimum in team sales, which includes your personal volume, and that you always have your 4 PICAs. So you want to keep an eye on them if they don't have their 200 in or that sort of thing, and they're going to become inactive. That does matter. You have to have 4. So I mentioned before a little bit about how I recommend that you have 2,000 in PV. It's just going to give you a safer cushion. It is only 4 average parties. So another part I want to mention is the PICAs. I feel the same way about the PICAs. I really don't recommend becoming a director with just 4 PICAs. You really want to strive for 6 or more. The only time I would say that I have an exception to that is if your team is larger than 4 and large enough that you have active girls who may not be your personal PICAs, or maybe they've just joined and they really are working towards their starts well, and you know that they've got parties on the calendar. So the point being is you really want to have 6 to 8 girls on your team that you know are working and are partying. The rule of thumb that I like to give everyone for a director is that between you and your team, you should be holding 12 parties minimum to hit that team sales. And that's going to give you more than enough. That's going to, let's say that those 12 parties are all $600 parties. That is going to give you a nice cushiony average. But don't forget that some of those are going to be flops, and some of those might be just catalog parties, and they're only going to be $200. So that's where I like to say that 12 is your safe number for that. So, all right, moving on in our career path training. If my page will turn here. All right, so missing those director requirements, again, this isn't something that I really want to worry you about and that we're really going to get into just yet. We'll cross that bridge when you get there. We're more concerned about you moving up that ladder and just what that means. So the next title position is going to be your senior director, and there are some great bonuses with that as well. Which are great. It's called a developing director bonus. So the cool thing is if you promote directors underneath you, not only are you on your way to moving up, but you are also going to get a bonus just like they are. So for instance, if you are getting that $1,000 bonus because you hit your director, whoever is your director above you is also going to get a $1,000 bonus. How cool is that? So that's where the money really starts to come in as well as you lead up that path. So we're going to work our way, as we can find the page here, towards what being a senior director means. So what that promotion means for you and its qualifications. So to be a senior director, an executive director, any type of director at all, you're going to still have to maintain and keep that $1,000 in personal volume and that $4,000 in team sales. Now to be a senior director, you have to have 2 paid at directors underneath you. And what's going to happen if you've got those paid at directors underneath you is that you're going to increase in your overrides. So you are now going to be getting an extra 5% on your personal volume. So 30% total on your sales, an extra 5% on your Gen 0, 3% on your Gen 1, and even a 2% on your Gen 2. So let's take a look at what that means. So here you are in the pink. Boy, this has just got a mind of its own here today. Here you are in the pink as a senior director. Here are some other of your Gen Zeros, and you have 2 directors underneath you. You have Heather and you have Michelle. Yes, I'm using myself as an example. Underneath Heather, underneath Michelle, she has some consultants, and they are all part of the Gen 1. Underneath, this was Michelle. Underneath Heather, she has not only herself and some of these Gen 1 director girls, but let's say even that she has 2 directors. So right here, she has Johanna and she has Courtney. And underneath them are even more girls. They are your Gen 2. At a senior director level, you are even going to start making a 2% override on those Gen 2 team. An executive director takes 4 directors, and you're going to see that the overrides just keep going. So with an executive director, you're now going to get a 7% sales bonus. So 32% you're making on all of your personal volume, an extra 7% over your Gen 0, a 3% over your Gen 1, and a 2% over your Gen 2. Senior executive just keeps getting better. Now you're going to get a 9% sales bonus on your personal volume, so a 34% total, 9% Gen 0, 3 on your Gen 1, and 2 on your Gen 2, excuse me. And last but not least, that National Executive Director, you are going to get 9% extra, 34%, 9% on your Gen 0, an additional 4% on your Gen 1, and 2% on your Gen 2. Developing director bonuses grow with each title as well. So at a senior director, as we mentioned, you would get a $1,000 bonus if you have directors qualify underneath you. As an executive director, not only are you going to get that $1,000 bonus for your directors underneath you, but you're going to get a $3,000 bonus if you have someone promote to a senior director underneath you. And it just keeps growing from there. With a senior executive director, not only do you get the $1,000 for the directors underneath you, a $3,000 for a senior director, but you're going to get a $5,000 bonus if you promote an executive director underneath you, a $7,500 bonus if you promote a senior executive director below you, and a $10,000 bonus if you promote a national executive director bonus underneath you. So these are some great incentives that you have. So I hope that these 2 videos cleared up a little bit about reaching for the top and reaching for those career guidelines. Here's a few more requirements by title that we're just going to go over. As a consultant, your expectations are to book, sell, and sponsor. As a senior consultant, it's the same, but now you're just going to engage those new consultants to book, sell, and sponsor. And to be paid out, we've already talked about these things, so we're just going to look at the expectations. At a director level, it's the same as a consultant. You're expected to start training your Gen 0, including hosting some team meetings, communicating with your team, recognizing your team, developing your team, making some welcome calls to anyone new that maybe you didn't sponsor in your Gen 0 along with who you sponsored, a monthly newsletter or some type of recognition letter to Gen 0, which does not have to be an actual newsletter. It can be in form of Facebook if you recognize that way. Attend or co-host some company events. Now, while some of this seems busy, remember that in our social media world, face-to-face is great, but there is a lot of this that you can do there that makes it easier. As a senior director, the only thing new that you're going to do is you're going to recognize those directors below you. You're going to work with them. Otherwise, it's the same as a director. As an executive director, it's the same as the senior director. But now you're going to have to recognize your senior directors maybe that you're qualifying underneath you. You're going to participate in some leadership webinars, which are amazing. It's where you're going to get to fill your cup and learn more things about the company and how to keep moving up that ladder. And as a senior executive director and a national executive director, nothing changes. As you can see, there's more people to work with, but your systems are in place by the time you're a senior director or an executive director, and you are a well-oiled machine that is on your way, ready to just help everyone and anyone that joins your team and your downline. So, again, I hope that this helped answer lots of your questions. Please message me if you have any other questions. I would love to answer them.